Minnesota. I'm your host, Alan Tracy.
I'm your other host, Rehana Power.
And today we have a few things for you guys. I think we'll start with the movie Decade Battle, though.
Yes. So this week I decided to move us back a little bit. For no reason other than it's my birth year, I decided we should start with 1987. And then we're hopping up to 1997. Looking at this list, I think this was a bad call on my part, so I own that. Because I have only seen a couple of the movies on the 1987 list. Shocker.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We're going to go with it. All right. So starting with number 10, the number 10 highest grossing film in 1987 was The Witches of Eastwick.
Oh.
Uh-huh. And then in 1997, the number 10 grossing film was The Full Monty. Yeah,
wow.
You didn't expect that, did you?
Quite the opposite on both ends here. Something for the ladies and something for the gentlemen. Huh?
I have actually never seen The Full Monty. I don't actually know a single thing about it. Mm-hmm. So there's that. I don't really remember much of anything about the Witches of Eastwick, if I'm also being honest, except that like Cher and Susan Sarandon and Michelle Pfeiffer are in it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
They're basically, what is it, Witches of Eastwick? Is that it?
Wait, what? Spoiler alert. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go with that, simply because that's a sweet cast, and again, I know nothing about the Full Monty.
Well, yeah, I'd agree. The Witches of Eastwick has my vote.
All right, 1987 coming in hot.
Enough said.
All right, so the number 9 film in 1987. Wait for it. Lethal Weapon. I mean, that's a jam and a half. And then, this one's tough for me. The 1997 number 9 movie of the year was The Fifth Element.
Oh.
I loved that movie. I still love that movie.
Right. Mia Jovovich.
Yeah. It was so cool. I have to go with that one. Like, Lethal Weapon's a classic.
Right.
And having now almost met Danny Glover, because he was on a flight of mine once when I worked for the airline, and so I got to I feel super fancy, and he's a gentleman and a half. But I still have to go with The Fifth Element. I'm going to go with it.
Well, yeah.
I'm doing it.
I mean, if he almost and then ditches you, I mean, he deserves this.
Right? Like, we were supposed to become best friends, and we didn't, so disappointment.
Yeah, hear that, Danny Glover?
Such a nice human being, too. Like, I just adore him. But yeah, still, Fifth Element all the way, I think.
Again, I agree. Fifth Element.
Dang, we never agree this much early on.
Yeah, well, there it goes.
Okay, well, wait, because I think that might change here. So the number 9 film, nope, just kidding. The number 8 film in 1987 was Stakeout. I have no idea what this movie is. I've never heard of it. I know nothing about it. The number 8 film in 1997 was My Best Friend's Wedding, which is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently Richard Dreyfuss and Emilio Estevez are in Stakeout. Oh, and Forrest Whitaker. I love Forrest Whitaker. Yeah, I don't. Nah. I'm going My Best Friend's Wedding all the way, 110%. I have no shame. I love that movie.
Yeah. Well.
What are your thoughts, Alan?
I've only seen My Best Friend's Wedding. I haven't seen this, so it's My Best Friend's Wedding.
I feel like that's not supposed to win in this, and I don't care. I'm so happy that it just did. That's phenomenal. Man, I haven't seen so many of these movies on the 1987 list. That makes for a boring bit. I'm sorry, everyone. The number 7 movie in 87 was The Secret of My Success,
Oh boy.
which starred Michael J. Fox, which is awesome. Never seen it though. I don't know what it is. Not even like the slightest clue. Number 7 in 1997. Oof. Liar, liar. I think I love
boy.
1997, you guys.
Interesting.
Like,
How old were you in 97? No, I'm just kidding.
old enough to thoroughly enjoy that movie.
Apparently, yeah. 87 for movies was a rough year, apparently.
Yeah. Not for
so
babies,
far.
though.
Yeah, right. Well, of course, it's liar, liar for me. What about you?
1000%. That movie is ridiculous and wonderful, and I love Jim Carrey. Yeah, 100%. It's classic.
Like, where are we on the spectrum right now? Are we all 97 except for that first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So far, 97 is running away with it. I don't. The top like 4 in 87 are really good contenders.
Okay.
Okay, so number 6 in 87, again, I haven't seen it, is The Untouchables.
Oh, okay. Sean Connery?
Yep, Sean Connery, Kevin Costner, Robert De Niro, Andy Garcia,
Yep.
those people. So yeah, The Untouchables. And then number 6 in 1997 is As Good as It Gets.
Oh.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, was Jack Nicholson and Helen Hunt
Yep.
and Greg Kinnear, who
Yep.
not a fan of as a human being.
Oh,
But,
really?
I love Helen Hunt, so I'm all in on that one. Yeah. Just because I haven't seen The Untouchables, I have to go with As Good as It Gets. But even just briefly seeing the cast for The Untouchables, I can understand if that one's actually like quite good.
Yeah. Gosh, this one's a tough one for me. I like both. I've seen both. What's your beef with Greg Kinnear? Is a person?
So it's stupid and it's dumb, and I don't even really want to say it on the thing because it's really petty of me. But yeah, I was a stand-in on a film that he did here in Minnesota, and so I worked with him for like 2 weeks. And he was very standoffish to me and basically the rest of the crew, at least as whenever I was around. And he was kind of rude.
Right.
And I was like, and given he could have just been like having some like tough days. He could have just been like going through some stuff and having a really tough time. And I'm just like some little nobody who's like, say hi to me. Like, but I saw on multiple occasions where he just wasn't the nicest person. And I was like, I don't like you.
What movie
in
did
my
he make
opinion,
here?
does not. Oh God, I genuinely don't even remember the freaking name of it. If I'm going to be totally honest with you, I know that Alan Arkin was in it and Leah Thompson. Shoot, and it was. Is it Thin Ice?
Oh, I
Maybe?
saw that on the list.
Billy Crudup? Maybe not. The Convincer. Yeah, The Convincer, because that's what it was called when they were here, and then they changed it to Thin Ice, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think. Leah Thompson. Yep, that was it. Because I was the stand-in for his... I haven't even seen the movie. For his... words are hard. Like, assistant person or something like that. Secretary, whatever you want to call it. Who was delightful. She was super nice. But yeah, that's all.
Okay.
It's super petty. Like, there's
No,
no reason
that's-
for me to have remotely cared, but I did, because...
No, that's justifiable. I mean,
Yeah.
it's one thing if you can tell they're having a bad day with someone else or something going on.
Yeah.
That can become obvious. I've noticed that on a set where I was like background. But otherwise, like if you see them like once in a while, they're either genuinely nice or they aren't. So
Right. And I was like, I would understand if it was just one day or something, but it was like 2 weeks. I was like, dude,
Oh, really?
come on, man. Like,
Okay.
it was like these people are working really hard on this.
Right.
And like, I get that you're like the main guy, but
Huh.
even just like say hi to people in the morning, like something, just something.
Yeah.
Again, this was like 10 years ago or something. It was a very long time ago, and I was a nobody, so who knows?
This is interesting because you have Jack Nicholson in this As Good as It Gets.
Yeah.
And he was in The Witches of Eastwick. He was
Oh, yeah.
the dude, so
The dude.
I don't know. Just the main guy, whatever. I don't know why he's he's firmly retired now, but
He was good at what he did, though.
yeah. That story bugs me. I'm sorry, Rehana. I feel for you.
It really shouldn't. It genuinely shouldn't. Like, at all.
You're like my Gertie in E.T. for me. You're like my little sister. No one
Aww.
messes with my girl. So I'm gonna go with The Untouchables. So
Nice.
yeah.
I'm still gonna go with As Good as It Gets again. I haven't seen the other one, and I adore Helen Hunt. So that's what we're gonna go with. Okay, this next one, if this movie is what I think it is, and I don't know that it is, it is. Man, this is interesting. Okay, 1987. The number 5 movie is Moonstruck. This is the second Cher film on this list. 1987 was a year for Cher in film.
Oh.
Interesting. Very interesting. So Moonstruck. It also has Nicolas Cage, though. So
Is this?
I haven't seen it.
Is this number
I think it's actually
5?
supposed to be really good.
What is this?
Yeah, this is number 5.
Okay.
Oh, actually, that's really funny. Now that I think about it. Oh, no, it's not. I was thinking this movie is something totally different than it is. Man, I am bad at life, you guys. Okay, so Moonstruck, or number 5 in 1997, is Air Force One.
Oh, boy.
I haven't seen Moonstruck. I have to go with Air Force One.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford. He's Han Solo. Come on.
I know. Well, I also know it's someone else's favorite movie.
Air Force One is someone's favorite movie?
Is Agent Orange's one of Agent Orange's favorite movies. So
I did not know that.
well, he played remember that whole thing when he was asked like who his favorite president was? He thought Harrison Ford was a good president. So I was like that was a movie.
I did not know that. That's really funny, though.
And then at his Victory Nights thing, he played the Air Force One theme music, and oh my god!
Oh, ridiculous!
I mean, it is a good movie. I loved that movie. Yeah.
It is a good movie. Yeah.
But like Usual Suspects, things get ruined. So, and Moonstruck was the other one.
Moonstruck. Cher and Nicolas Cage, which I think is actually supposed to be like a really good movie, but I can't get myself to watch it because it's Nicolas Cage.
I understand. Yeah, I remember that you had a problem with him.
Yeah,
his face.
Do it. I do have a problem with his face, which is funny. Super tangent here, really quick. Like 6 years ago or something, my boyfriend bought me I think for Christmas, a giant pillowcase.
Yes.
And it's like
His
Nicolas
face.
Cage's face. And it has some stupid saying on the bottom. I put it in a box and I put it in the closet. It has not moved. But yeah, it's...
You put it in the Goodwill box? Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh man, I'm Nicolas Cage. Anyway, that was my story about Nicolas Cage. I'm being really mean about actors right now. I'm sorry. Like,
That's
this is not
okay.
my intention. I'm sure these people are just wonderful human beings, and I'm a jerk face.
Well, he's not too great with finances. We know that much. But
We do know that. Yeah.
how many?
That's okay. Neither am I. Maybe not to that extent.
Right. If you had $1 million, how would you lose it? Well,
Great question. It's a very good question.
but you could do unlimited movies, you know?
And who doesn't want that?
Right. It's like, yeah, I'll option into your film. I'll go with Air Force One. Yeah.
Air Force One?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the right call, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is where it gets interesting. So, in 1987, the number 4 movie, Good Morning Vietnam.
Oh.
Now we're actually getting somewhere. 1997, the number 4 movie is Tomorrow Never Dies. Yeah, with your boy, Pierce Brosnan. Alan.
Wow, we're yeah, okay. This is 2 years away from last time, so okay, yeah.
Yep.
Tomorrow Never Dies. So that was with the newspaper one, right? So.
I don't believe I ever saw this one, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I said, he would, like, I like Pierce Brosnan in pretty much everything that he's done, but he's just not my Bond. I don't know.
Well, I think,
Like, he's fine.
yeah. He did a... I got to think about this. You go ahead first.
Oh, I 100% am going Good Morning Vietnam. Yeah. 100%.
Okay. Yeah, I think I ultimately have to go that way too. Because it's not Goldeneye. Goldeneye, I think, was one of the really good ones.
Yeah. I think it's tough to also go against Robin Williams, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah. Another generally good person too, you know, as we know.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. Okay, this next one is also tricky. Are you ready?
Yes.
In 1987, the number 3 highest grossing film was Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Okay.
In 1997, the number 3 movie was Men in Black, the original.
Oh, Men in Black all the way.
100%, right?
Yeah.
So good. So good. I know a lot of people don't like 2 and 3 and then international stuff. I love all of them. Every single Men in Black movie.
Okay.
I think they're fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Eddie Murphy is great. Beverly Hills
Yes.
Cop, please, yes. That's great.
Yeah.
But, and yeah, it'd be nice to watch those again just for some of the comedy from that time in Beverly Hills, knowing what we know about Hollywood now. That'd be good to watch again.
Yeah.
But also, but I mean, Men in Black, that was like one of the first movies I remember going to see with my grandfather. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we'd have I was younger, of course, and we'd have movie days with our grandparents, and that was one of them. So that was the
That's
first
so
one.
Fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so we're getting there. The number 2 spot in 1987 was Fatal Attraction.
Oh.
Now, the number 2 spot in 1997 was The Lost World, Jurassic Park.
Ooh. Jeff Goldblum's full glory in that. My goodness.
You got Jeff Goldblum, you've got Julianne Moore, who's lovely as ever. Pete, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name, and it doesn't matter, but I love him.
Who?
Pete, let me look it up. How do you pronounce this? Postlethwaite, I think. He was in Dragonheart and Romeo and Juliet, Inception, Clash of the Titans. Like he was in like quite literally everything. He's an English actor. Like if you saw his face, you would know exactly who I'm talking about. You would know him from something.
I don't know if I've seen Fatal Attraction, honestly.
Nope, he was in Jurassic Park.
No, yes. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I flipped on you there.
Like, wrong movie. That makes sense. I have not seen Fatal Attraction.
Yeah, Glenn Close, Michael Douglas. Because I remember Michael Douglas from Basic Instinct. Or is that it? Basic?
I haven't seen that either, so I don't know. I think this is really like me just emptying my soul and admitting that there are many movies I have not seen.
Okay.
Especially from this era.
Yeah.
Oh.
These, I'd assume it's like a...
Yeah, I think Basic Instinct, isn't that with Michael Douglas and Sharon Stone?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
I have to go Lost World, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Fatal Attraction is right up my alley, but I don't know. So I'll check that one.
Yeah, I'm sure Fatal Attraction is excellent, like really well done. But also haven't seen it, and Jeff frickin' Goldblum.
Yes.
So yeah,
I love
Jeff Goldblum and dinosaurs. Like I'm sorry, but no.
Plus, I mean, he's still going. He was in like Isle of Dogs or whatever. Even his voice, and then of course Thor.
I was
Ragnarok.
just about to say he was in Ragnarok. So let's be honest. Okay, like
I love
that's the thing.
The ending tag at the end of the film. You know, the post credits.
Did
you see that?
I'm sure that I did, because I was obsessed with like staying until everything was done, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, he basically is like in the trenches with the garbage people or whatever, and they know they've got his number, and he's like, "Hey, you know what? You did a great job. Let's call it a tie. You know, it's a tie."
That's fantastic.
But it also says he's still alive, so you know you can use him again.
Right, as
in
they
should. In the next Thor, maybe, huh?
Which is also going to be the next Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, whenever that is.
Because they're together. Yeah, it's definitely a ways out. All right. So the number one movie of 1987, Alan. I adore this movie. At least I did when I watched it back in the day. 3 Men and a Baby.
Oh, wow.
That's a good classic film. Like it's hard to go wrong with that cast. But and I have very strong feelings about this movie. The 1997 number one film, fun fact, came out the same day as Tomorrow Never Dies, which is the number 4 film on this list, is Titanic.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you have Titanic and
3 Men and a Baby.
3 Men and a Baby. I just watched 3 Men and a Baby on when I had Disney Plus.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because I was like trying to... I was actually looking for the Ghost Boy.
Of course.
But when they played it back, it was like, here's the reason why, is because it's like actually a reflection of a standee of someone, and it was like, oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But no, I watched the whole film too, because that cast. Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Selleck, Ted Danson, like how do you not just love that cast?
Right. And then just the situation, and kind of remembering what it was like back in the 80s, I guess, obviously, at the
80s,
store.
Yeah.
Even the store run, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This store looks like, yeah. Like the way baby food was, manufactured and stuff like that.
Oh, Lord.
Just the little things, the little details. But then you have Titanic.
Oh, okay. So here's the thing. I really liked Titanic when it came out. I was 10. Of course I liked it. Whatever. Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
And I mean, Kate Winslet's amazing, and I've had a girl crush on her since Titanic. So there's that. But like, first of all, if Rose had just stayed on the fucking boat, okay, then this is my issue. Jack could have been on that damn board the whole time. He would have lived. They would have been together happily ever after. Boom, done. So I'm already irritated. And then my sister loved that movie. Like when it was like a couple of years later, I think she was like old enough to, well, probably not old enough, but started watching it. And it became like her favorite movie for the longest time. And I was like, oh my God, I can't handle this movie. I hate this movie. We need to stop watching this now. So I actually don't like it now. Like, I'm sure there are a lot of things that I would really like that I do really like about it. But like it overall in my head, I just have like this that movie like mentality because of that.
And it's super long.
It's so long. Oh my God, it's so long. But I mean, it's also done really well. Like the way that they like everything from the detail around the ship and like the costumes and just everything. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Ugh, God, though. I don't know.
So,
like, I'll go with Titanic because I think the production value is outstanding, but I'm also like teetering on not going with Titanic out of spite. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, I personally like Three Men and a Baby better, maybe. So I'm going to go with that.
Dang! I would just like to point out that there's only one that we disagreed on then this time, which is pretty impressive.
No, there were two.
Were there? Oh, that's right. The Untouchables and As Good as It Gets.
Yeah. But you could easily switch those two. I mean...
That's true, yeah.
Once you see Untouchables, I'm sure that would be converted.
Yeah. 2, 4,
but yeah,
6,
I think 97 overall wins the most.
10, 12, 13. Yeah, I think it does. Just barely, though. Well, no, not just barely. Just kidding. JK. Yeah, it definitely does. Okay, 97 wins. Sorry, 87, you tried.
It was like some of these football games we've been watching. So, kind of
yeah. Well, I don't know how much they're trying in those, to be honest. God, so depressing.
Not that these decades realized they were going to battle each other, but, you
know. Right? 23 years later. It's funny because this weekend has really made me realize how many 80s films I have never seen. And I'm kind of okay with that. Like, I think that if you're going to watch those movies, you can't watch them for the first time 30 years later when in your 30s.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad idea.
Speaking of 80s movies.
Yeah. So I did a thing, you guys.
Oh, boy.
And I did it for all of you.
Yeah.
And I did it for Alan so he can get his movie back so it can no longer be in my house.
Yeah.
I finished E.T. Okay, I feel the need to qualify what I'm going to say. Even though I don't think I should have to qualify it because I'm a human being and my opinion is valid, and if someone doesn't like it, that's fine. Like, I don't care.
Right.
But I've had to explain myself multiple times since I finished this movie last night. And so I'm going to qualify it once, and then I'm done. I'm done at qualifying. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I think that if I had seen this movie when I was young, like, maybe not right after it came out, obviously, but like, when I was, let's say, within the first 10 years of my life,
Yeah, you're a huge fan. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would have liked it. I think I understand why everyone did like it. I think that the nostalgia is a big piece of why people our age like it right now, is because of the nostalgia of it, from what it meant back then. I understand that. I get it. I respect that everyone loves this movie.
Sure.
But here's the thing. I'm 33 and I just saw it for the first time and it's 2020 and it's an awful movie. Like, I appreciate that everyone loves it, but it's fucking awful. Like, okay. So I have a few notes here and I didn't even like put down like exactly what was happening. So let's hope that I remember.
Yeah. Before you dive into the notes. Now, did you pick up where you left off or did you watch it all the way through?
Nope. Picked up where I left off. Less time I had to watch the sucker, the better.
Oh my. Okay.
It's funny. So at one point I had to get up to I made like a sandwich or something while I was watching it.
Okay.
Or something. Like I was thirsty. Yeah. Something like that. And I paused it and I was like, I wonder how much time I have left. Because I was like, I think it feels like there's like 15, maybe 20 minutes left. Maybe even 10. I was like, it feels like it's pretty close to the end. So I don't know how to work the PlayStation. Jared helped me figure it out. Like, I have to hit this button and then it'll tell me how much time is left, where I'm at. There were 40 minutes left. 40 minutes. And I was like, what is happening to my life? Oh my God. This movie's never going to end. So anyway, I did not watch it all the way through. I watched from where I left off and I remembered exactly where I left off.
Where did you leave off? What part?
So it was after Elliot faked being sick to stay home and hang out with E.T.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And then the kids come home and...
Yeah, and then he shows his brother and then his sister walks in. But that stuff I hadn't seen yet. So
Okay.
So he had just faked sick and now they're hanging out. At one point, like 30 seconds into me watching this, E.T. steps on a scale and he's like 40 pounds or something. And then...
What?
Yeah. And Elliot said, but you're so fat. Okay, first of all, rude, Elliot. That is body shaming and no one needs that. Okay?
Now, this part... Hang on here. I have to explain something because this part is not in the original film. The part with the bathtub scene and apparently the scale. This was added in this edition that you have, the 20th, whatever.
Oh, okay. So maybe not everyone knows about this. Elliot is a body shamer, everyone. So how do you like the movie now? Still enjoy it? Yeah, he calls E.T. fat. He literally says, but you're so fat. Rude, Elliot. I am far more than 40 pounds and I don't appreciate that comment. So there's that. So that's like me jumping into this experience.
Okay. Oh boy.
My next, that's number one. I have 10 of these. That's number one. Number two, E.T. screams and it sounds exactly like a goat. 100% sounds like a goat.
I was actually trying to look that up. Like, where did this come from, this crying noise? You know?
It's the weirdest sound. It took me a minute to figure out what I think it is, and I could be wrong, but that's what I landed on, is I think he screams and sounds like a goat. Because they make that weird, like, I don't even know how to explain it, sound. So, yeah. Number three, so E.T. waddles, and he waddles the way that I imagine I will when I'm really fucking old.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like I should really relate to that at some point in my life. So there's that. Okay, and like I understand, once I finish the film, I can understand that this is like a theme, and in the end it makes sense. But with no prior like indication that this is going to be a thing, when Elliot is at school and E.T. is at home, like eating everything and getting drunk, and then all of a sudden, like Elliot is falling asleep and he's drunk at school or something. It's ridiculous and unnecessary. Like super ridiculous. The fact that they're connected in that way, and like, how did this happen? I need backstory. Like, what caused this? Why is it him? Why is it just suddenly now? Like, what's going on? It's ridiculous. They needed to put more into that part of the story if they were going to do that.
I feel like it's a suspension of disbelief or whatever that is. You know?
That's understandable. Oh, another thing. So when E.T. learns how to talk, and the first time he says, like, E.T. phone home, and he's pointing to the fucking window, and then he says, E.T. phone home, and then Drew Barrymore's like, E.T. phone home, and then Elliot's like, E.T. phone home, and then the older kid is like, E.T. phone home. They said it like 30 times, and I wanted to break the TV. Like, how many times can you say E.T. phone home in 3 minutes? Oh my God, stop it. And they just kept going back and forth. It was driving me nuts. Okay. So now we're getting to the part where the government, I guess, is like there to take E.T. But it's not just the government, it's NASA. Apparently NASA gives a shit, and apparently they had to show up in their full-blown NASA suits with the helmets, and they're acting like weird zombie apocalypse people or something, like the weirdest thing. Like, they're like coming in the windows and like in every door and all these things, and they're walking really slow as if they're on the moon and there's no gravity. And the mom like doesn't scream, doesn't say, hey, stop, you have to get out of my house. She's just backing up as if like, oh, this is normal, I should get out of their way. No, that is not how anyone would react to that situation, and it's highly unnecessary. Whatever. So there's that. When they're like doing all their tests and stuff on him, and like they've got Elliot on one table and they've got E.T. on the other table, and he's pure white, and all this kind of stuff, and like he's dying, and they're running tests. Like, they would not be doing that in the house, and they would not allow, if they were doing it in the house, they would not allow the rest of the family to just still be there. Just be like, yeah, no, we're just running these tests, and your kid is connected, so they're both connected to the things, and it's fine, and we're studying your child, and it's not a big deal. None of that is realistic. The mom would not have been okay with that. And then, like, the one NASA guy's like, I'm so glad that he met you first. And it's like, no, you're not. You're a fucking creep. You just stormed into this lady's house. Anyway, totally unrealistic. In the end, when they are, there's three notes about the end. So they're on their bikes. All the kids are on the bikes, and they're like zooming through the streets and getting away from the cops. And at one point, first of all, they're on their bikes for like 5 minutes. And E.T.'s like, no, you guys got it. Y'all are good. No, I'm okay. Not gonna fly you, not gonna do anything. You guys have got it. Keep going. And all of a sudden, as they like go through these two cop cars where there's a giant gap, so it's totally fine. And they could all go through at one time almost. Like, there's plenty of room. They're in no way being stopped. And apparently that's the moment E.T.'s like, oh, I gotta step in. And then they all start flying. And I'm like, what? Why now? Why not 5 minutes ago? Why not? Like, what? They didn't need your help right now, man. Like, what are you doing? What's going on? Had an issue with that. Like, is he just impatient? Like, is he just like, y'all are taking too long, I want to get to my spot? Or something, like, I don't know what's going on. The music at the end, as he's like he's saying goodbye and then leaving, doesn't make any sense. Like, I feel like that's music when there's like some giant like a battle was just won or something, or like just something hugely monumental and someone overcame some giant like I'm thinking of like Braveheart or Titanic or like some big movie, or like fucking Star Wars or something, where like some crazy fucking thing happened and they somehow barely squeaked out of that situation and saved humanity. That's what the music sounds like. Not like E.T. is saying goodbye to these 3 kids. What is happening? Figure out your score, man. Like, what's going on? And then the very last thing. The spaceship makes a fucking rainbow. Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? That's what happens. Why did that not happen earlier? Why can't they communicate with their stupid spaceship rainbow? Like, what is I don't understand the point. I didn't get it. That's all. I feel like, as you may be able to tell, I didn't like the movie, but I watched it. That is my review. I would prefer that you not send me any hate mail over it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I apologize. I give
So-
it a D+ because Drew Barrymore was adorable.
Oh,
She was
Drew
fantastic.
Barrymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Gertie. She's totally. She's like the little sister I never had. She's just like
Yeah.
so wonderful in this film.
She was adorable.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed her.
And I'm trying to read through some of the, trivia of E.T. from IMDb. Now, some of this may or may not be true. We've learned that from John Wick with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
But apparently, the voice to the science guy with the frogs, that's
Yep.
that's Harrison Ford's voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So even
That's
though
awesome.
his scene was cut for being the principal or something,
Yeah.
that's apparently him. So interesting.
Interesting.
But yes, and apparently at some point Drew Barrymore was yelled at by Steven Spielberg, and she called in with a fever because she felt guilty. That's sad.
It
But
is.
he later obviously felt bad and apologized and everything. So, according to what I'm finding here, so because when I see Drew Barrymore cry like near when they're trying to zap ET, it's just like
Yeah. It's
And-
so sad.
and like the mom's comforting Elliot, and I'm just like, someone comfort her. It's like she's the young girl here. So,
Exactly.
anyways,
She was the best part of the whole movie.
yeah, you like that, huh?
I did. She was adorable.
When she's like telling her mom that he can talk, it's like, yes,
Yeah.
of course he can talk. So, let's see. So, did you see the Yoda costume interaction?
I did.
Okay.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. I saw that.
And episode 1, bunch of little ETs.
Which
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
But anyways, yeah. I think you're right. There's a lot of nostalgia here.
Yes.
Much like, I guess, kind of like Three Men and a Baby had.
Yeah. And I think that makes sense for all those movies. Like, what is it? Oh, like Space Jam. Like, I love Space Jam. I love it. I think it's phenomenal. I will watch it today and love it. Just like I watched it 15, 20, 25 years ago and loved it. Like, it doesn't matter. But I was listening to a podcast, and I think I've talked about this on previous episodes,
Yeah.
where they also talk about movies, and they're like, what the fuck is going on with this movie? And it's really funny, but they brought up Space Jam. Like, one of the episodes is on Space Jam, and they were like, this is awful. How can anyone ever watch this? And they had never seen it before, and they're all older than us now.
Right.
And I was like, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, that's what this is.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. If they had watched it when they were kids, they'd love it, and it would be a thing. But, like, because they just saw it for the first time in their 40s,
Yeah.
30 years later, like, of course it's trash to them. Like,
Right.
That's exactly what this is. Like, if I had watched it forever ago, I'm sure I would not be a jerk about it. But guess what? I'm a jerk.
Yeah, because I saw this when I was like maybe second or third grade. And this is the movie that inspired me to become, do film for the rest of my life. So,
That's amazing, Alan. Now I feel like a real jerk.
yeah.
Oh, no.
But this is that film, there are films that
Yeah.
get people, like even for Spielberg, he talks about old films and everyone's like, well, I don't care about that. That's old,
Yeah.
It had
That's
no
okay.
that had no visual effects in it. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like all these really old things, like from Hitchcock era and so on.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't like films that weren't even in color,
Yeah.
but they told really great stories, or had big moments like these with the bikes, and I think that's what as younger kids from that generation can relate to, is the fact that there were all these little things like messing around in the garage with stuff, or riding your bikes, to playing with your action figures, your stuffed animals, your, bedrooms, and just those little things. But I found it interesting with the whole NASA people, because guess what? I watched it too.
How? I have your copy.
Yeah, well, I'll be posting about that soon for you. I was going to hold out because I was like, yeah, we'll see if she watches it first. But
Took me long enough.
but it reminded me of like Contagion a little. It's like they're basically quarantining the entire house.
Yep.
And because they kind of did that whole bubble plastic thing, and I was kind of like, this is kind of like the CDC stuff. This is more like contain the whatever, the what have you here.
Right, yeah, because they didn't know. I did also watch that last week, too. I watched Contagion.
Yeah.
Finally.
So you know about the blow-up suits and everything. And,
yes. Excellent movie.
Yeah. And a lot of those machines, I noticed, are similar to the ones in Contagion. Like the whole... when she puts the thing in the CDC lady, she puts it into the... I don't know what that thing is. It's like a mixer or agitator.
Yeah.
They had the same machine in E.T. I was just kind of like, huh.
Oh, snap. I didn't even notice that.
It's like an older model, but it's the same thing. So searching for like disease or DNA or whatever.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. So that, the suits. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you watched it.
Me too. It only took me 2 years, you guys. It'll literally be 2 years next month. So, I'm slow, but I got there.
You did it. You watched an 80s movie, kicking and screaming the whole way, but
Yep, I watched the 80s movie that I had pretty much refused to ever watch ever, because E.T. always freaked me out, but I did it for you guys.
Yeah.
So.
I appreciate that. I really was going to throw in the towel, because it was just like, yeah, she's not having this. This is clearly not what she wants, so I think 2 years says enough about that.
I came in just under the wire.
Yeah. But you came through, so.
Exactly.
I noticed that there was one thing about like the house that they filmed outside of in 2009. There was a wildfire that came close, so that kind of touches with our disasters movie last time.
Oh yeah, yep.
Just how like a lot of these places, because this was somewhere in kind of the middle of California, not quite south, not quite north.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just very interesting to see like these places were in grave danger from wildfires, and it's just like, and that was 2009. So I have no idea if that's been something that's been in danger recently. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's Rehana's E.T. review.
Yeah. Ask me to watch another 80s movie again, you guys. I dare you.
Yeah.
I'll ruin the nostalgia for you 100-fold.
The Untouchables. Try that, huh? Yeah, let's,
I mean, that's that Sean Connery movie, though, right?
Yeah, it's about the Prohibition.
Yeah. Ooh, see, I'm in on that. I could get down on that.
Yeah, it's very good, I think. So.
Okay, I could probably do that. Some Kevin Costner.
Yeah, it's about Elliot Ness and Al Capone, and yep. So.
Yeah, see, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That one intrigues me.
No aliens involved that we know about.
Well, that's the thing.
Still big government, though. No, I'm just kidding. That's a different episode later. Oh yeah, I guess you could watch that. Anyways,
Anywho,
we're here to talk about some adapted films, actually.
yeah.
So we wrap this episode up.
And there's a lot. So when you think about some obvious ones, there's especially, I feel like a lot of like kids or like teen movies or like that. So I mean, like you have Harry Potter, you have Hunger Games, the Divergent series, things like that.
yeah.
And so like all of those are adapted and they're really fun. I didn't read literally any of those books, but like I loved the Harry Potter movies. Again, there's probably some of that nostalgia there. And I actually really loved the Hunger Games movies.
Yeah.
Even as an adult. Yeah, like they're fun, but they're like that sci-fi aspect is pretty cool. Whereas it's not like quite, I don't know, like it's serious, but it's not like ram it down your throat serious. I don't know. I really enjoy those movies. Though I have not read the books. So I mean, there's always that aspect of which one's better, and usually it's the books, but not quite always. But then there's some like classic films and books and stories that are adapted that I really enjoy, and then also just some newer things. What are some of your favorites, Alan?
Oh geez, as an adult at least, I definitely love like Gone Girl as a movie. I haven't book actually. I was going to, but I'll have to buy it again maybe. Inside joke there. Yeah.
Yeah, this is why you don't share your things.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Yeah. I do recommend it though. And like, so I haven't actually read the book yet either. I really want to. We have it. Jer has read it. And like he read it in like 2 days because it was so like the movie is so intriguing in the way that they go about it, but the book does that even more. Like, and it's still, without like giving things away that he told me, like it's still just as intriguing, but there are differences.
Yeah.
And there's so much more like detail on certain things that it really sucks you in even quicker than the movie did, which I think is really saying something because that movie is phenomenal.
Right.
It's messed up, but it's phenomenal.
Right.
So I 100% think you should get the book and read it.
Okay.
I think I should read it too.
Well, get it again and I'll read it for the first time.
Right. Yeah.
But
exactly.
Also like The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. The movies, I want to read the books because of the movies, and I did that in reverse.
The books are so good.
Yeah.
I don't read a lot. I would love to read a lot. I get tired when I read, and I have to be like super, super into it, and I struggle with that with a lot of books. But I read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series in like a week, which is really, really, really saying something. Like it is such an excellent series. I have not seen the Swedish films yet, though I want to, because I've heard great things. But even like the films that they did here, there were things that were missing. So I enjoyed the series or the films, but there were things from the books that I wish they would have been able to also pull in had they had the time. That series is phenomenal, and everyone should read it.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
How about you? What are some of your favorites?
The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is definitely, that series I would say is like number one for me and adapted probably. This one's a little more classic, but Little Women. Again, with the nostalgia, I loved that book growing up. And then like the 90s film that had Winona Ryder and I think Susan Sarandon, Kirsten Dunst. Oh goodness, when did that even come out? 1994. I loved that movie with all of my heart. Oh my gosh. Like even in Claire Danes, oh God, it warmed my heart, and that was like my childhood. I even had like little books. There were like this little series that they made for each sister and like other stories about her specifically. And so I bought those. Like I was obsessed with it.
Right.
And so like I I loved that adapted version. I know that there's another, like an even older, like much more classic adapted version that I haven't seen. But the new one from last year, I spoke about this when we talked about our Oscar films. I didn't want to see it because I was like, no, I think that I don't think it's going to live up to what I like, the expectations I have from the story and from the 1994 film. And it blew me out of the water. Like, it was so excellent. So just Little Women overall, like all of the adapted films.
Right.
And then I haven't read the book on this either, but I want to. We have it because I'm so in love with this film. But Cloud Atlas.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Like, the film was just beyond any expectation I ever had. I think it was beautiful and moving and kind of terrifying. And it was very emotional. It was excellent. Very well done on everyone's part. But I can only imagine, like, how the book is based on that experience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you on Little Women, definitely. And you mentioned the Divergent series and Hunger Games. I'm definitely fans of those franchises.
Yeah.
It kind of says something about adapted films, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know sometimes sometimes filmmakers and like Hollywood and stuff can get a bad rap for like making films like that. Like, oh, you don't have any more ideas, so you're just doing this.
Yeah.
Or like even sequels or something. But like, I mean, there's so many that are so well done. Mm-hmm. Like, why not?
Right. Why not?
Why not?
Why not share someone else's vision of that idea, I suppose.
Yeah. Exactly. And for people who maybe don't read, whether they just don't like to or if they don't have time,
right,
but they have an hour, you know, where they can just or 2 hours where they can just sit down and watch a movie, and then they have this experience. Mm-hmm. Like with Gone Girl, I wouldn't know about Gone Girl had it not been for the movie.
Right. Now, I do remember going into a Barnes & Noble and seeing, of course, years from now that may not exist, but
yeah.
But seeing like the Gillian Flynn novels, like, you know, on the tables, you know, front and center. Mm-hmm. So, and they had kind of the full trilogy out there, and it was just kind of like, oh, okay, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that her stuff gets made too.
Yeah, talk about that. There's like different iterations of each kind of book.
Yeah, so like, is it Sharp Objects?
I want to say Dark Places came second. I'm not sure. I know it came second in how they made the films. I don't know if it's the second book in the series.
Okay.
But then Sharp Objects became a miniseries because I think Dark Places was a limited release, not as wide as Gone Girl.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was as big as Gone Girl.
Which I don't get, because it was Charlize Theron. It was like,
it was.
Yeah.
And the film itself is like, so I read the book before I saw the movie with Dark Places, so I was really excited when the movie came out. Mm-hmm. And like the book is, it's really, really good. There are aspects that were not included in the film that I think may have made it a little bit better. Maybe drawn a few more people to it, but overall I think that it was really good. It's a very moving and really heartbreaking story.
Much like the title implies. So
yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But then Sharp Objects, I did not read that story or that book. But then, and I even actually only saw part of the series because my boyfriend was watching it, and then like halfway through watching it, all of a sudden it caught my eye, and I was like, "Oh, this actually looks good." And so I watched the second half of this series, which is not the way to do it, you guys. That's just, don't do that to yourself. But
don't jump on a moving horse.
Yeah, exactly. But like the second half of it was really good. I love Amy Adams though.
Yeah,
she can do anything. Oh man.
Then you have like I felt that way about like the way you did with Dark Places, kind of like with Harry Potter. I started reading them when I was younger. Like I read the first two, and then I just was disappointed because it didn't have one character that I really loved in there. And then I decided, you know what? I'm not going to be disappointed again. I'm just going to stop reading them.
Right. Because you knew you're going to watch them.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, you know what? You've ruined this for me, and I'm going to just leave that in the dark now because I'm not going to read those anymore just because of that. So I just don't want to be disappointed again.
Yeah, which I think is understandable because there are people that I know who read the entire series of Harry Potter before seeing any of the movies, and they were like, these are crap. I was like, first of all, how dare you? But yeah, I was like, I don't want to, like, if I know that I really want to watch the films and I want to enjoy them, I don't want to ruin that experience for me. And since I love film the most, like, if I know it's coming, then that might affect my decision to read a book or not. Another story that or film that was like that. So I read the book My Sister's Keeper. This was like 8-9 years ago. And it was really good. It made me cry. It was a whole thing. And actually, well, there's two books like this, or two stories. So I read the book, and then all of a sudden they made a movie out of it with Cameron Diaz, who I, heads up, don't like. But I was like, okay, well, I love the story. It was really good. So I watched it. And the end came, and I was like, fuck you guys. How dare you ruin this? I was so mad. Because, like, the story is supposed to break your heart. And they were like, no, we don't want to do that. And so they, like, fluffed it up. And I was like, this is dumb. You just took the sting out of it, and now I don't want it. Yeah. And One Day is another book. I actually do love the film, but there's so much more within the book that I could just read that repeatedly. It's really moving. But I mean, the movie has Anne Hathaway and Jim Sturgis, and how do you go wrong with those two?
Right. So you liked it.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Some notable mentions. Looking through a list here. Obviously, It by Stephen King was made twice over our lifetime.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I guess they just, might as well make more money.
Yeah. Apparently people like pooping themselves in the theater. That's fine. Whatever.
And then you have something like The Shining and Doctor Sleep. And it's just like, that's an interesting story because I remember before Doctor Sleep came out how much Stephen King didn't like Kubrick's The Shining because it wasn't like the book. Much like many people who read books go to see movies for. So it was more about the hotel. But then Stephen King made a book to follow up with Doctor Sleep to, kind of bridge the two. So, that's interesting. I mean, Stephen King has like all sorts of movies like Stand By Me and The Body. All those, Silence of the Lambs is a notable mention.
Yep.
Fight Club.
Yeah, like you and I had mentioned earlier before we started this, David Fincher.
Yeah.
Does that really well. Fight Club's a great example, but
he basically, all except for maybe one or two, he has done adaptations on his films, and
he does them so well.
Right, but I'm just like, what if he did an original? What does that look like? Because like even his series, like from unfortunately House of Cards, but that plus his more recent one. Damn it. It's the one with the serial killers, with the FBI. But anyways, he basically does. It's also adapted from a book, those series. So
yeah. Another one that I love the film, Have not read the book, but it's a classic. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Jack Nicholson.
Same. Was Godfather adapted?
Apparently, that's what I'm seeing, which I did not know. Which is very.
We might be on the same list.
Yeah, we might be.
Huh.
It's very possible. No Country for Old Men.
Yeah. Now that one, I'm okay with just seeing the movie.
Yeah.
It's for me. I kind of am like, because I remember I did watch their making of, and they mentioned that it was a very kind of more of a short story, which kind of makes sense why it's kind of paced so slowly. So
yeah,
I've noticed a few films like that are kind of short reads, but kind of longer arty movies, like You Were Never Really Here, Benjamin Button. So those were all shorter stories, I suppose, not short stories per se.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're more than 100 pages, so yeah.
It's amazing. Like, these lists just go on and on. There's so many movies that I love that I had no idea were adapted.
To Kill a Mockingbird. Yeah,
right, yep. Did know that one.
Yep.
But, Requiem for a Dream.
Really?
Yeah. Man. There's a lot.
Room.
Yeah, oof. God, that movie. Heart-wrenching. That's a hard one to watch. Brie Larson is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have not read the book. I don't know that I could. Just knowing what it's about and having seen the movie, like, that one's hard to get through.
Right. But just a little kid, room.
Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, there's some amazing adapted films. Amazing.
Yeah.
So keep it up, Hollywood.
And authors. I mean, if people have stories, start with writing a book. You don't have to go straight to the screen.
Right.
They'll probably pick you up if you have a book.
Exactly.
And now, obviously, we know about all the TV series or, streaming series. And
right.
Because I think Handmaid's Tale is one. We kind of brought that up with Elizabeth Moss.
Yeah, which I'm waiting for the next season of that. Like, I need that in my life. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Although
then you have things like... Oh, yeah. But then you have things like Game of Thrones, and that's interesting, because it's like the writing couldn't keep up with the production. I'm like, shouldn't you wait for the book before you do... your own thing here.
People were not patient with that. There's no way they could have gotten away with waiting. Yeah.
But also they weren't happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people were at that point like, no, this is crap. It's like, first of all, calm down. And then Big Little Lies is another one. It's on HBO.
Oh, yes.
It's adapted. And that series is fucking mind-blowing. Like, the cast is phenomenal. The story is super twisty and intriguing.
Well, the story is like a hot mess. Come on, let's be let's be honest here. It's hot mess stories.
The story is just, it's like layers and layers of emotion and like mistrust and people just being real and making mistakes and trying
also being
too
shitty.
hard. Yeah, like some people just not trying at all, and some people trying too hard, and recognizing that those two things cannot coexist. Like, you just...
Sorry, I just broke our clean record here for the podcast.
What?
Well, I said shitty, so...
That's okay.
So now it's an explicit. But they said that in E.T. Like, how did this film get away with, the language?
That's a really good question.
It's a kid's movie. You'll love it. I didn't even hear it. He's a master manipulator. Well, that's the show for this week. Next time we'll be talking about Halloween films, Rehana.
Oof, and since you all know how much I love scary and horror film stories and everything, this is going to be tricky. Again, I am doing this for you. We will talk about all of the horror thriller films that we can muster. If you have any favorites or ones that aren't too super scary that you think maybe I should watch before we hop on the podcast, so that way I don't leave poor Alan to talk all by himself, let us know. And yeah, we will bring you some scary stories next time. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, bye.